Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this is the new MacBook Pro 16. Now you've probably already seen a few reviews of this. I even did a quick first impressions video myself, but I've been using this now for the past few weeks as my main day-to-day work laptop. I've switched to it, but I want to be totally upfront and say that for the past few years or so, I've mainly been a Windows laptop user. Not because of any brand loyalty or anything, just I knew people were having issues with the butterfly mechanism keyboard. There were some throttling problems on the i9 version of this, and of course just the sheer range of Windows laptops that are available with 4K and OLED screens, gaming graphics cards, a wider selection of ports, and of course generally they're better value for money. But things have changed. Apple have actually listened. The MacBook Pro 16 is slightly thicker and heavier than before, which is a very un-Apple move, but it means we get much better cooling, so less throttling. There's room for a bigger battery, giving us an extra hour of life. They fixed the keyboard, which is probably the biggest reason to upgrade, to be honest. We get the very latest AMD 5000 series graphics cards, which offer a significant boost in performance. They've trimmed the bezels, given us a bigger 16-inch Retina screen, and added ridiculously good speakers, the best on any laptop. And all for the same price as before, starting at £2,400. I've got the slightly more expensive model here, which is £2,800, and while that is still eye-wateringly expensive, we are getting more for our money. And actually, other laptops seem to be getting even more expensive. So if you take the Dell XPS 15, my previous laptop, for a similar spec, we're looking at about £2,500. So only $300 less than this, although that does come with more RAM. So of course you are still paying a premium for this Apple experience, but it's not as bad as it used to be, which I guess is a compliment in a way. We also now get the option for 64 gigs of RAM, double the previous maximum, and up to a whopping 8 terabytes of storage if you just want to go crazy. Just quickly, a big thank you to Quidco for sponsoring this video. They're actually the UK's top cashback site, so you can actually save money on the things you were going to buy anyway, which definitely comes in handy during the holidays. Now, since I buy quite a lot of expensive techie stuff for the channel, I signed up and I'm using the cashback I've earned to put towards new shiny toys, which I definitely don't need. It's really easy to use, especially with the Quidco browser extension tool that automatically gets you the cashback. This isn't just for tech either, clothes, fitness, games, travel, whatever you're into. I've also teamed up with Quidco to give away a brand new pair of Apple AirPod Pros. Download the cashback extension tool or the Quidco app and leave a comment below for a chance to win. The thing is, to get the most out of the MacBook Pro, you really need to immerse yourself in that Apple ecosystem. If you have an iPhone for iMessage and AirDrop, if you edit in Final Cut or Compose in Logic, or even if you just want to watch Apple TV. Whatever you think of Apple, one of the reasons people love and keep buying their products is that seamless ecosystem and just how easy it all is to use. But that's not me, because I use a Pixel 4 as my main phone, iPad Pro for watching movies on the plane. I was using the Dell XPS 15 as my laptop, and I've got a gaming PC, of course, that runs Windows at home. So hopefully it means something when I say that after using the MacBook Pro 16 for the past few weeks, I genuinely want to switch to it and make it my new everyday laptop. Now let's talk specs, and we get the same Intel 9th gen processors as we did before, the quad-core i7 or the 6-core i9, but thanks to the better thermal performance, it's now much easier to recommend the more powerful i9, which I've got here. Running Cinebench R20 5 times and taking the average score, the sustained higher clock speeds are having an impact. The bigger upgrade though is in the graphics department. The new AMD 5000 series chips, I've got the 5500M in here, is a good deal faster than the older Vega chips in the 15-inch model. A bit like the iPhones, it's not all about the specs with this, and there's just something nice about the MacBook Pro. It's just lovely to use, from the all-aluminium unibody chassis, the comically large touchpad, the fantastic keyboard. I love this thing. They've basically taken the magic keyboard that you get with, say, the iMac, taken those scissor keys, and then made some improvements based on what they learnt with the butterfly mechanism. But it's sort of like a hybrid best of both worlds. And going from one of the worst keyboards to now having one of the best keyboards you can get on a laptop is a pretty significant upgrade. And obviously the keyboard and the touchpad are what you use all the time. So regardless of anything else, that's probably the biggest reason to upgrade to the 16-inch. I have to say though, even with the escape key back, I'm still not a fan of the touch bar. I keep accidentally pressing mute or activating Siri when I'm reaching for the backspace. It does look cool, but for me it's a gimmick and makes things like changing the volume and brightness take longer than they should. The battery life is also fantastic thanks to the new 100 watt-hour battery, which is the biggest you can get in a laptop and still take on a plane. Considering we have a bigger screen and more powerful graphics, and we get an extra hour of battery, now up to 11 hours, that's pretty impressive. We also get a new 96-watt USB-C charger, up from 87 watts before. It still takes around 2 full hours to charge. It's not any faster than before. So not only is the charger itself fairly compact given the performance of this, and also because it's USB-C, you can also then charge your Android phone or your iPad, and it's really, really fast. Fingers crossed we get USB-C on the 2020 iPhones. The day that I only have to bring one charger with me in my backpack will be a very good day. One thing that I was still a bit unsure about is the fact that we still didn't get a 4K screen option. This is a MacBook Pro, it's for professionals, for creative users, and yet you can't watch videos or your edits back natively in 4K. So I actually asked Apple about this and what their thinking was, and they said that, well, they thought this resolution was the best balance between sharpness and battery life. So while a 4K screen would have been nice, this is kind of like a happy medium and not something we get on Windows laptops, which tend to be either Full HD or 4K. It's quite rare we find anything in between. So we're still getting Apple's Retina display, which works out at about 226 ppi compared to around 280 for a 4K 15-inch laptop. But it still looks really sharp and we get much better battery life. And of course, being a laptop, a big part of this is portability and being able to use it comfortably for a full work day. And of course, when you then come home to the studio or the office, you can then plug in your high-res display. And thanks to the new graphics cards and also the Thunderbolt 3 ports, you can actually output up to 2 6K or 2 5K or even 4 4K displays from a single MacBook Pro 16, which is crazy. I'm also a big fan of the 16:10 aspect ratio. I wish more laptops had this slightly taller screen. Although you do get letterboxing when watching videos, browsing the web, working, coding, it all feels a lot more comfortable on this. I also really like that you can easily switch between different color profiles, which is really useful when I'm color correcting video. Even though it does pump out 500 nits though, it doesn't support any specific HDR standard. There are still a couple of things that this doesn't do. For example, we don't get Wi-Fi 6 support, which is a bit disappointing actually, since a lot of other laptops that are coming out right now do support that. And while it's still fairly early days and you do need a compatible router to get the most out of it, it makes it a bit less future-proof. I also wish we had more color options. We just get space gray and silver, which are very similar, although I think space gray looks better, but I would love a rose gold or even a matte black version of this. One of my favorite upgrades though, and actually the first thing I show people when they see this are the speakers, because they're incredible, flat out the best speakers you can get on a laptop. We get a 6-speaker setup with force-cancelling woofers, which sounds like what you'd call a dog from Star Wars, and they help to reduce vibrations and distortion, so even at full volume, it sounds fantastic. Overall, I'm really impressed with the MacBook Pro 16. If you're looking for a high-end productivity laptop and have pretty deep pockets, then whether you're a macOS or a Windows user, I would definitely recommend it. And to be honest, I think the base spec with the i7, 5300M, 16 gigs of RAM and 512 storage is more than powerful enough for most people. I'm also really hoping we see a new MacBook Pro 14, an update of the current 13-inch model soon, with some of the upgrades that we see here, but in a smaller form factor and with a lower price. What do you think of the new MacBook Pro 16 though? Are you tempted to buy one? Let me know in the comments below. Again, a big thank you to Quidco for sponsoring this video. Check out the link in the description to get started making money back on your purchases, and for a chance to win Apple AirPod Pros. Thank you so much for watching guys, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chap.